and I tried walking over there just to see if anyone had a truck or something. We were trying to find my brother's girlfriend, and I just saw, like, there were pallets in the road, like, it was just, yeah, I broke down on a corner and just cried.
Hey, it's Jordan. I am in Flint, Michigan, East Palestine, Ohio,
Tumwa, Iowa.
Please support the only independent outlet on the ground covering what the corporate media covers up.
I'm here with Ollie. Ollie, you helped to put this on as a supervisor here at the Ace Hardware. First and foremost, you told me you are from Swannanoa, which we've shown, that's where we met Nathan, who put this on. That's an area that's completely devastated, and you were displaced by the storm. Could you please talk about your personal experience before we get into the propane drive?
Yeah. Sorry, do I hold it?
No,
okay,
I hold it.
Cool. So I live in Swannanoa. Our house was about 30 feet from the bank. And my brother woke me up at like 6:30 in the morning and said the river's in the yard, and I didn't think much of it because, you know, the river gets high, you know, our yard floods. And by like 8:30, it was on our porch. By like 9, it was in our house. There's a lot of panicking involved. We had 3 cats and 3 dogs in the house. It was my parents, my brother, and one of his friends who had evacuated from his house, which was even closer to the river. And the house started tilting. So we put all the animals in my room because it was the driest point in the house. Our neighbors have a giant, like, massive shed the size of a small house that just floated and hit our house like it was like a paper boat. And then the house started moving. It fully floated off the foundation, and the front of the house is now about 40 feet back from where it originally was. And we didn't have any of our tools, you know, couldn't get to the porches, you know, there's no safe way to, you know, go through floodwater that's taller than you. Mm-hmm. So my older brother punched a hole in the ceiling, and climbed into the rafters, and with his chef's knife and a claw hammer, he broke through plywood, tar, shingles, and got us up onto the roof. We had to leave our animals in that top right room, just because it was the safest place for them. I can't imagine wrangling 3 cats on a roof.
Yeah.
So we got up and just waited. I have no idea how long we were up there. We were using the cells on a fan that was on the back of the garage to tell how fast the water was receding. And then search and rescue from Chicago came through our neighborhood in boats. And we, the porch of our roof had collapsed, so we slid down that into you know, what our foundation was, which was now just a giant puddle of floodwater. And they got us back out. My boat popped, which was really fun.
Your boat popped? After all of that, yeah. The boat popped?
I was like, okay, I'm just gonna die getting saved. This is awesome. Yeah. But we made it up. It's really close to the Ace in Swannanoa, which is where I used to work. And I tried walking over there just to see if anyone had a truck or something. We were trying to find my brother's girlfriend. And I just saw, like, there were pallets in the road. Like, it was just, yeah, I broke down on a corner and just cried.
Completely reasonable. But so that's day one. That's the day it happens. And I assume the house not livable.
Yeah, it's going to have to be demolished. It's just destroyed.
So night 1, where did you stay? Where did you sleep?
So after the search and rescue guys left, my dad and brother trudged back through like 3 feet of silt to get all the animals. We had a cat in like a suitcase and dogs, and it was just chaotic. And we took a shuttle to the Ag Center, which took like 2 hours because the roads were closed or washed out, or, you know, it was just hard to get to. And by the time we got there, they didn't have cots or anything, so we just sat up on we posted up with some plastic chairs, and I just slept on the floor, and I don't think anyone else slept much, but...
So the days, weeks after that, were you sheltered in a hotel or anything like that with the FEMA aid?
So the day after, my grandma drove up from South Carolina to pick us all up, and so we stayed with her for a couple weeks after everything. I think I ended up staying with her for about a month, just because we had applied for aid and everything, and we had friends offering to let us stay with them here, but I didn't have a lot of... we didn't have cars or housing or anything, so it was just kind of a struggle to piece anything back together.
So, grandmothers, now where are you? Where are you being sheltered?
I'm living in Black Mountain with my partner. And my parents got rental assistance for a place out in Candler, and now they're in Grovemont, so we're a lot closer, which helps a lot because I am now just neurotic about everything. Every time it rains, I'm like, all right, y'all, we need to grab our own shit bags.
We've heard a lot of that there's like a kind of a trauma response to any weather event. We were warned to be sensitive to folks about the snowstorm that came when we first landed, because everyone's just scared of the elements right now.
Yeah, it's a lot of bracing. I was here when the snow hit, and I managed to get home, and then I was calling every single person I knew, because after everything happened with the flooding, there was no service. You didn't know who was okay, what had happened, and there was just that panic of needing to know that everyone's okay. So I definitely mother henned a lot and just tried to call everyone I knew just to check. But it is, anytime there's really heavy wind, heavy rain, just pretty much anything I'll freak out about.
So does it feel gratifying at all to know that you went through that and now you're helping in getting people propane and getting people all the assistance they need? During this interview, John, if you could turn around, about $100,000 worth of more stuff that they're giving away has pulled up. Does it feel gratifying knowing that even though this happened to you, you're still able to help others?
Yeah, I mean, and it or at least I try to think of it it didn't just happen to me. It's a community, it's states, and millions of people were affected, and there's only so much I can do in my job, but anytime I have a chance, then that's all you can do, is just try to help.
And on that note, you have a job. A lot of other people who have been affected by this don't have the ability to work because they're either trapped in a mountain or the place where they work is now closed. You luckily have a stable job that can help kind of build.
Yeah, it's very good to have some rhythm and everything. I mean, there are still people living in tents. There are people who don't have housing or don't have a stable way to get clean water. I'm incredibly fortunate in that facet. So really anything that we can do to kind of help people out. We had our grass seed rep drop off 4 pallets of free water to just give out. So we've just had pallets and pallets of water. We had the owner's friend from Florida bring up thousands of dollars of donations. So we've I'm very grateful to work for a company that wants to give back to the community.
So what we've learned on this reporting trip, Status Coup doing on-the-ground reporting, if you want to support, go to statuscoup.com/join, is that community efforts are what's driving the rebuild. It doesn't feel like the government has actually held up its end of the bargain.
I mean, there's always been a huge just amount of community in this area. That's very Asheville. I would say Beloved Asheville is a nonprofit. They've worked really closely with my family, with my neighbors, pretty much everyone I know who has needed help. They've just showed up like fairy godmothers. And they're an incredible outlet and resource. They at one point had like 18 volunteers helping us clean up the property, like cutting down trees and just getting debris, and they're doing wonderful things. So it is a very strong sense of community. I think if anyone has Asheville's back, it's Asheville. And you know,
do you think I'm gonna let you go back to work. If there's one thing that you could tell the people at home right now across the country or throughout the world watching this, what would you like to tell them about Asheville, North Carolina, Western North Carolina, coming back from Hurricane Helene?
I mean, be patient. It's not going to be a quick recovery. Help where you can. If you have like an extra $5 to send it to a nonprofit in Asheville, send it to, you know, there are a lot of organizations trying to get to people in need. Like, these people here today have been like just so phenomenal. Like, last time they were here, came in and bought brand new tanks to give to people who were like, I have one, but I'm gonna need more, it's gonna get cold. Like, there are a lot of really wonderful people on the ground here who are trying to make a difference, and if you can help, that's the best way to get to us.
Well, when it come to town, me and my fiance was we moving out of our trailer because of mold, and we was in our car for a few days, and we was sleeping in the car the night of the hurricane, and it got completely washed away. We had to pretty much like swim out of the parking lot. Some people in Morganton rescued us. That's where I'm from, is Morganton, North Carolina, and so somebody from another organization ended up donating us a camper. But after that, we just got no help. Nobody in Morganton was offering anything. They had a couple food drives, that was it. But they had no propane, no heaters, no nothing. FEMA was offering stuff here and there, but nothing spectacular to talk about. So we got the camper. We had to end up moving it to Marion because there was nowhere in Morganton to put it. So I had to leave my kids, my family, you know, stuff down there. And I actually, 2 drives ago, I seen where they had posted for propane, and at that time our car I didn't have the gas to get up here, so I contacted them, just said, shoot, I'm gonna try it and see. And they was nice enough to bring us some propane, and my cousin propane that lives down there that don't have a vehicle or anything, because I said nobody is helping Morganton at all. I heard there was a couple in Marion, but I'm not, you know, from there, so I don't know. I just moved there. It's everybody. I've got pictures of places in Morganton, houses underwater, campers, and nobody's got anything back for them. You know, they don't know what they're going to do, and I've been trying to connect them up here, but they're 2 people, you know, and they don't have the time and people to take care of everybody. So, you know, we're trying to, like, I'm getting ready to take a load of stuff back to give people that I know that need stuff too. So, you know.
Have you dealt with FEMA at all in any capacity?
We had applied for a car reimbursement and stuff. We got one small payment for like $300 for miscellaneous stuff, but that's been it. We got denied everything else. We had to stay down.
You got denied?
Yeah. They said my fiance's a disabled veteran, and they just was like, I don't know. They said that they couldn't give us the vouchers because we've had to pay out of pocket for a hotel till we got a camper. And that was hard because we had the last hotel was like $200 a night, and like we went through the reimbursement for that, submitted everything, and it's like just been one thing after another, and we got denied a vehicle claim and everything. Like
from your insurance,
from the FEMA, because FEMA had thing, you know, send in for you know, if it was a total loss or whatever. Like, we're borrowing a vehicle now to drive because ours got like it was gone, so we lost everything, like literally everything.
Could you speak about what your personal experience was? Have you lost anything?
Well, my family members lost everything. They were right there across from the old school, and they lost the house, the trailers. My uncle's the one that had the Corvette in the middle of the 70. Danny, that's my uncle.
So what has the rebuilding process been? What steps have been taken forward, and has FEMA helped?
I don't think FEMA's helped, but he's just now got power put in a pole there, and he's staying in campers right now. This is just something we got to go through. It floods here all the time. It's just this is the first time they ever built a dam, so if it got too much water, it would move a pillar, and you couldn't close it. That's something Asheville needs to fix. They need to put a spillway back in there.
That's what I had heard about. There was something about like they had to release water.
It was a concrete pillar, and they did it on purpose because where the dam is made, that if it got over pool, that block would move, and it wouldn't stop. And I think they did this 4 years ago when they built the dam. They knew this was going to happen, and it did happen. And this is the aftermath. And I think if they had the floodgates, this would have never happened. They could have controlled the water coming in and out of that dam.
So it was like an infrastructure problem set 4 years.
Dams around here are old. They need to be tore down and rebuilt.
Thank you. No one has talked about the dams.
You've seen Lake Lure's dam is 1950s or 1940s. And it's holding all Lake Lure up. It needs to be tore down and start over. Because I drove across it on a motorcycle. You can see holes in the road all the way down. They say it's sound, but it's old. It needs to, anything over 50 years old needs to be tore down. Look at them lakes just busting all over up north. Old.
That's great insight, because I'd heard about the water being released, but I had never heard it explained, you know?
Yeah. Well, if you look on your Google Maps, you can't go up there. It's not open to the public. But during the flood, if you go on YouTube, you can see the North Fork Spillway, and you'll see the concrete block missing. That's all the water we had.
Oh, well,
it never turned off. It stayed. I was Olympic-sized swimming pools of water, too, and that had a lot to do with it. There's a lot of water. Now, if we get that in snow, we're done. I hope not.
I was going to say, do you have any faith that come next hurricane season, Asheville will be intact?
We just watch the river is all we do. Ain't got no choice. We're living on it. We've always lived on it.
And I think people unfamiliar with Asheville may not know there's
floods all the time. That ain't nothing new. It never got this big before.
Yeah, we had driven down that main road on Swannanoa, and there's I think it was a gas station where you could see half the parking lot fell in, but on the other side of the street, it's the gas station with the Swannanoa County store, and that one's completely fine.
Yeah, I know it's crazy. I mean, Swannanoa is where the 5-lane is. Used to be a junkyard. That's the reason why you see old cars stacked up.
I didn't know if that was the hurricane or if it was just a junkyard.
It was a junkyard. They made a road through it, so they filled it in with dirt, and they built all Swannanoa. It used to be a junkyard, but my papa told me back in the day it used to be a junkyard, and he said where our house is now, the river used to be there. Everything had been moved and switched.
And then the river just came back.
It went back in its regular channel. And then underneath all the water, there's a shelf. It's a big rock shelf. It's all through Swannanoa. You'll see it in different places, like where Ward's Lake used to be. There's a shelf there. Where Charles D. Owen, where it washed out, you can see the shelf. That's how I've never seen it before.